Okay, welcome to our property management meeting. We'll go ahead and do quick introductions from our team here for everybody. I'm Jenny Knight, City Administrator.
Justin Schnitzel, Public Works Director. Glenn Gamble, Assistant Director.
Doug Jepson, View Water. Dan Johnson, View Water.
Blake Carter, Waterless Water.
Ryan Marker, the Fire Department.
Brandon Green Jones, Civil.
Matt Robinson with Jones as well, City Engineer.
Okay, let's jump into our meeting this morning. We've got a discussion on public utility easements for fiber optic from Connext. If you want to join us up here at the table, we're a little tight quarters, but do have some information we'll share here.
And one of my it's and things like that this way, like kind of get started, we can do like questions and answers sort of things if you guys have anything. So we're it sounds like Harrisville City doesn't require a franchise agreement necessarily to do the work. With a couple other cities that are the same way, and that's completely fine. So we just want to make sure that we're aligned before we get started work. We usually meet with the Public Works group and things like that to make sure we're not doing more than they're capable of, that they have plenty of time to do their blue staking and things like that. And we also need to make sure that we're either in the public utility easement or the right of way, you know, the preference that the city has there. And we just want to kind of sort through those things. So Marcelo is coming, he'll bring an example of what one of our builds would be like when we go for a permit, typically in a city. And we break our segments up to about 150 homes per segment. And
Okay,
so
I think he emailed in some
he
information.
might,
So
yeah.
this was just an example that he's using.
Yes, and I'm not sure if that's fully planned or not. But there'll be a bunch more slides with that. And so a lot of times we'll,
This is kind of the space you're referring to.
yeah, and so he'll outline it. And then the one big square that came up in the beginning is usually usually the cities have us submit independent for cabinet. And the cabinets are usually about 3 to 4 feet tall at most, and just a few feet wide. And then we try to put those in a place where it's not going to bother a resident. And then everything else is underground, unless we're doing aerial fiber. And so we're an underground builder. Also the residents really like that, even the pedestals and stuff we leave. And so the cabinet's the biggest thing, and the cabinet covers about 1,500. And because we're building a lot of surrounding cities, sometimes I don't know if we were planning to have more than maybe one cabinet in Harrisville that we actually put in the city itself. And so that's what this is Marcellus. I'll have him join us up here as well, and we'll give you guys some paper copies along with this. So this just kind of outlines where we're going to do, and so that's a pond segment, which I said is usually roughly 150 homes. We focus the opposite of most fiber optic companies. We actually try to get past all the residents before we worry about businesses and other connections. So it's usually the lower income for most of these companies, but that's always kind of been our focus, is the people first. And so we come in and at least while we're building, we don't charge an install fee or anything like that. And it's quite a few groups that come through and do the work. And so we'll go through this planning segment. And usually we build past almost 1,500 homes before we start actually connecting fiber and connecting the clients up. And so in the city the size of Harrisville, we're only gonna do that maybe twice. And so we'll get through one large segment before we put people up. And right now, just because of the complexity of the process and how many homes we're building past the month in other cities, there's quite a delay between the groundwork and actually getting people hooked up. And so you can skip over to the next. That's another sample in another location. And we can do.
I think that's.
We only have to do
They
it.
got their pages.
Yeah, they got multiple pages if you just scroll down. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I was gonna say. And so we actually, one of the things that's different about us is we spend a little bit more money on materials because we don't like crossing roads, and most cities don't like us crossing roads with the drill. And so we're trying to avoid the road problems. It increases the mess a little bit as we're going past homes, but it reduces overall damage or potential damage to city utilities and things like that, that are in, and road cuts and potholes and potential gas hits and all that kind of stuff. And so we'll give you an outline of what we're planning to do. And so this is where the conduit's going to be going. And then it'll give a list of like how many vaults we put in. Typically, we do one between every 2 homes. And then we do some larger vaults, like this HDPE vault, the bigger vault. And that one's what feeds usually around 150 homes, and that's underground still. But then there's a cabinet that lifts up out of that, and that's a big cement vault. So those are, usually we put those on like a corner, especially where we're gonna do a road crossing. And when we do road crossings, we also pull extra conduit so that there's ever a problem, if at all possible, we don't have to come back and cross your road again. And so that's kind of the way that's set up. We use 1.25" conduit. I don't know if there's any, let's go down a little bit more. And so this is kind of the basic of, you know, what we typically do. And we do all the regular standard spacing between other types of conduits. We try to maintain a good depth so that so the conduits don't stick up later on or pop out. And this just kind of gives a base, but we do everything we build, whether it's in cities or the UDOT road, we do UDOT standards. And so we do flow fill, and it is required that our guys pothole everything before we go past it. And so if we're in someone's yard, that it makes people a little bit more upset. We want to make sure we're not hitting the gas, we want to make sure we're not hitting the electricity, and make sure we're not hitting any of the utilities possible. And so our drill crews are supposed to have that small pothole open. It's usually 8 to 12 inches wide and goes down to the depth of where that utility is. And they're supposed to have eyes on when we go past it, to push forward, and eyes on when we pull out. So we're still gonna hit stuff. The things that don't get inverted, if there's a sewer, our guys are supposed to tape it and find it where we're crossing. Sometimes they're, so that most expensive thing to hit, we still hit sometimes because we don't know what it is. And then sometimes they won't mark the gas correctly, or one and this one entirely. So I'm sure you have that experience. Fortunately, we've absolutely worked with your safety group. Our guys sometimes will, once they become aware, they immediately call in and let you guys know that there's been a hit or something like that. And then usually, if you want to, they'll notify the homeowner and sometimes the surrounding homeowners before emergency response gets there. And while we're waiting to repair it, the gas company doesn't let us, open up and repair it, and it's fine, it's for safety. And so we have to wait for them to come out, usually fire departments there. And again, we do everything we can to avoid that, but it just happens. Like there are plants old and you'll get markers coming out that don't actually hook up to locate. They just mark it. And so our guys will do the pothole and we'll call in a second. If they say, yeah, it's maybe it's not there or something, we'll usually keep calling you. They come out. It's usually when they don't even know they have something there.
I actually made 2 different plans, kind of just sample areas. They will change just a little bit, not much. This plan in particular, we put everything in the public utility easement when it was available. When it isn't available, we had to go into the park strip, as you can see in the little yellow highlighted areas. And that's just to be in the right of ways and not in just people's yards without their permission. In the other example that I have over there, this one is all in the right of way, so we're staying in the park strip the entire time. We're not dipping into the people's yards at all. And it was just to kind of show you guys what these would look like, where we would need to in and out. And yeah, so whatever your guys' preference is, like we can work with wherever you guys want us.
And we've actually had it both ways. Like Far West City wanted us completely in the right of way, even though there was a PUE. But we've had other cities that wanted us in the PUE, except where there wasn't one, and then they wanted us to move in. We just show that on the plans. And so that's really what we're going to work with you to to know your preference or what you guys want us to do in scenarios. But that's, like Marcelo said, that was an example of an area where there was a PUE and then there was a segment that there was nothing. And a lot of times it's just old build and never got on the plans, never got a public utility easement. And so there's only, so it's possible that the city might need to do it all. We run into that, yeah, because then you end up with a large segment. People that don't get service get upset with the city. So usually the city works with us on that.
Justin, really Glenn,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
right way or the PUD.
Yeah, and like Marcelo said, the plans usually really show it, like we go through the GIS from the county and the city has it as well, and we see where all the plans are and where there is PUE and not. And so he designated that segment where there wasn't any listed PUE, and if they know better, they're welcome to come back to us and say there actually is here, send us the files that we might have been missing from the county or something, and then we go and PUE or adjust our plans.
I didn't realize, it's interesting, those homes on independence that you were showing, some of those aren't in subdivision. I didn't realize that, so that's probably why they don't have the PUE, they're just, some of those along independence don't show.
Yeah. If you, on the next page, you can kind of see like that entire road does not have public utility easement. So along that entire yellow line, we had to be in the park strip and then switch off into the yards afterwards in the public utility easement.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like they're saying, if you go as fast as you guys can handle it, like in Clinton City, we were going past we do at least 5 at once, 5 or 6. We got up to 6 of these permits at a time, and that was 900 homes. So we get through your city really fast if you guys have the capacity for that. And for Heights, they're only able to handle 1 and 2 at a time, and that's fine as well. And we don't want to overburden you guys. We're fine starting with just 1 and seeing what it is, how much capacity it takes for your projects and employees and stuff like that. And then if you tell us this is fine, we can handle 2, get staggered on this way and work you on that.
Are you gonna have your machines up on the sidewalks then, when you go through the park strip?
Yeah, and on the inside the PUE, because they need to be parked relatively straight for the entry. Like they only can turn so much at a time. And so our guys are again, they're supposed to put the boards down and everything to not. It is absolutely our responsibility to restore everything afterwards.
So under our standards, if you're gonna be putting it up on our sidewalks and stuff like that, we will need a pre-video
Yep,
of the sidewalk, just in case you guys are breaking sidewalks, so it's not a he said, she said.
yes, absolutely.
So we need that.
Our guys actually go through on the project and take pictures of each home before we're doing the work and stuff like that, because you're obviously making reference to it all the time. People are like, you broke this, and you can pull up Google Earth from like 5 years ago and it shows it already there, but we'd rather have the pictures too. So yeah, we totally get you, and that helps.
And then through a lot of our area, like where you're showing right now,
Yep.
we have geomat through the roads, which is probably gonna be anywhere between 18 and 20 inches down.
Okay.
So if you're boring across the road,
Roads are
you could hit
deeper.
the mats.
Yeah, especially if we know that, we'll go deeper. That means we have to have a deeper pothole, but we're not that 24 inches down under roads, so that we don't, because the drills can actually bounce up the asphalt or bubble it. And we don't want to pay for that either. And so we go deeper, when we cross all the roads.
All right.
Yep. So, I mean, that's kind of the basics of it. Like Marcelo said, these are kind of some samples or examples. We, of course, want to go through your permitting process, but just anything else you wanted to say before we just kind of opened up for questions or anything?
The one that says Connext plans. So this would be our only above ground thing.
Yeah, I went through active.
Oh, you did
this already.
Okay.
But we didn't scroll down if you wanted to show.
Yeah, I kind of do a little mock-up of what it would look like. You already went all the way to.
I didn't go all the way to the bottom on this one.
So I just kind of draw it on there just so that you guys get a reference. We have to be about 6 or 7 feet away from the closest power, or up to 6 feet away from the closest Rocky Mountain transformer. So that's why I kind of have it a little bit further to the side. I can't be closer than that for their rules. But yeah, I kind of just draw these up this way for you guys. That way you guys get a clear picture of how it'll look like, what's gonna be there, and
And we try to choose areas where there's a fence, so it's not like right in someone's yard, and where there's already something big or a couple big things. Because people are a little bit more welcoming to it if there's already that kind of stuff in the area and it's not my site. So we try to help people out as much as possible, but we will still end up with people that are really, really upset about it. And sometimes in our plans, we'd be able to work it and move it somewhere different. Sometimes we can't, just based off where we have to fight and stuff. So if we can move it, we will. If we can't, help us work through the anger with those people and.
the other thing that I've worked with other cities is in their parks, they usually want us to just put them at a park just because it's on the corner, out of the way, and we don't have to anger any homeowners or whatever to get them out of the way. One of the locations that I was looking at is if you go on this, the other one that we have, this little tiny park that's right there. I was thinking maybe throwing it there if you guys would like it there. The only issue there is that there wasn't a public utility easement, so it would just be getting your guys' permission or seeing how you guys would go about that.
I think right on that west
That was the side of the,
west side of the park,
that's the playground.
there's a transformer for that house.
Yeah, and that's why I looked at that location.
It's something.
Okay. I would think we'd be okay with that and then save, you know, the phone call from angry residents.
Okay,
I would think, yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
Okay, we'll try to plan it around and, public buildings then and. Cabinets. So, and like I said, I wouldn't anticipate more than 2 cabinets
Yeah.
in Harrisville City and so.
We've got a few detention basins that it could fall into, like if we, hold on, so show big enough. And water's there. Well, I was thinking more like on 23. Oh, and
Right, if you need one on the north. end,
2150, yeah.
I mean, you could be up on even Millennial.
Well, I was thinking 2150.
Yeah, that's true, and then over.
Yeah, we have a couple, I think
Again,
when you have that option, I think that's preferred on our part as well.
Yeah. Again, it's about, we have a lot of subcontractors, we have a lot of in-house guys. We have some subcontractors for our drill work, but we very much stress doing a good job and following up. All of our QC is in-house, so our guys check out for our subcontractors and stuff too. And we want to make sure you guys are telling us if there's a problem, because we want to be aware of it and fix it or take care of it. If things aren't quick enough or it's not being handled correctly. We've let quite a few different subcontractors go during this process. Probably not to bring a new one in for a new city. We try to get ones that we work with that don't cause problems. But the sooner you tell us, we don't want someone to just be upset with us and not know something go wrong. We want good communication with especially with Public Works.
well, like you said, as for right now, I mean, I think the most we feel comfortable is one section just to get started.
Yeah.
And that way, we can do some pre-inspections also. We've got a little couple grounds we can fly and get some good aerial footage of the area.
And
So
so,
again, our water company is a third-party water company. Pineview also has pressurized irrigation through a lot of the city, so that's coordination with them.
Yep.
To not.
Don't overwhelm our mistaker.
Yeah. We both have it the same.
who's the water company?
One of his,
One of us.
secondary, secondary. Most of the older subdivisions were in the rear, but the newer ones from probably 2,000 streets.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you'll provide maps, I'm sure, to our.
Yeah.
Because that helps.
And we ones that can get it, and then we know, we say, sometimes we'll do this massively large swath, we're gonna stay within that.
Right.
Like 5 foot segment of drilling, we don't diverge from that, so
Okay.
we'll work with you on that, you really need to mark. Sometimes we say puts it in like those clear back of, and then, yeah. The road or something.
Yeah, if you provide a drawing, then don't call in massive areas at once so we can stay ahead of it. It's wonderful for us.
So,
Because it's going all over. I mean, it's fire everywhere.
Marcelo does that.
Yeah, I actually call in the blue staking, and I just call in 25 feet into properties on both sides of the road, just as a general basis.
Yeah.
But then we send you guys these guys, and then just follow the line, and then
Okay.
for the water stuff, like you'll need to mark that. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So what you see here is what I send to every locator whenever we call in anything. So that way you guys are not over marking and wasting time over there.
Yeah. Super fun, everybody, we go up to, they're gonna be working on a little tiny spot in like a neighborhood over here. So we get it.
Yeah, I think thus we cover 10 cities, so there's fiber go from there.
Yeah.
Our poor blue staker.
Slam, right? Most cities want us to notify. And so we, at least go leave a door hanger on the door, and that's part of what we usually take our picture of, is people will start calling the city or us and say, tell us anything that's happening. So we have a timestamp dated picture, usually of the door with the door hanger on it from a distance that kind of shows the home too. And so that's just become part of the process. So we try to notify beforehand with at least a door hanger, but a lot of times they'll knock doors. If we have enough time in that area too, just to make sure people know that they're not there, they just leave the door hanger. And then sometimes during the process, we'll do a couple others just as a reminder that it's happening. Like usually one is it's coming, one is we're kind of doing construction right now, and then the other would be we're done, do you have any problems, sort of thing. And throughout the whole process, we want, complaints and things to be taken care of directed to us. It's not really the city's responsibility, but you'll get people that kind of push both ways. One of the most important things for people to do is not reach out if something happens. Don't necessarily reach out to your own insurance company. If they reach out to like their homeowner's insurance or something like that, then it almost always significantly delays the process of getting something taken care of. And we even had one case in Far West City Plain City, that has been almost a year and a half. And the two insurance companies were actually subsidiaries of each other, and they were battling each other. We had to take care of it because the homeowner submitted their insurance. So try to direct that to us, and if you guys become aware of it, try to direct them to us, but we'll coordinate with you guys if there's a problem.
We have a in-house work order system where any complaints will go to
Okay.
Glenn, and he'll be in contact with you. So you'll just make sure we have appropriate contact information. If you have any newsletter write-ups or things that we can notify, please send that to us. We'll include that when we get ready. We'll include that in a newsletter to increase the notification that we can give our residents your contact information so that they know where
And
to respond.
they can usually call the main number. We do have a yard repair number as well. What usually happens as we're building through the summer months or the winter months is all of a sudden in the spring, all the sprinklers that are never marked are hit. And so most of our crews get pulled off of general production and go as quickly as possible into sprinkler maintenance and repair for everybody. And so just be aware that that's going to happen probably as soon as the water comes on. It becomes all on deck. But like I said, we're not just the builders, we're the long-term ones that want to keep our clients. So that's kind of one of the pluses, is we want to make sure it's good and want to know if the process is going bad in some place, or if you're having a hard with us somewhere.
When do you plan on starting?
As soon as you guys are ready, I think they'll finalize some of the plans and get going. And like I said, we'll work through that first one. If that's a simple process and you feel like you can handle more, we'll bump it up a little bit. Because even Clinton City only had one guy doing marking, and maybe only a couple guys in public works, they were able to handle 6 crews work. But we understand that a lot of other companies are coming in and some cities have more and more than other cities as well. So we just want to make sure it's within the realm of reason for you guys.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions?
I have one. How much do you anticipate the cost will be to resident for this?
so we don't charge any installation fees and so far, even our we haven't started charging installation fees. And we're minimum, at least a third of the people usually sign up for our service pretty quickly. In Far West, we're well above half of the people signed up for service.
Obviously, is $35.
Yeah, we have a 35 and we have a 35, a 50 and a 65, and we're actually going to be bumping up the speeds. And so the 35 is going to be 250 instead of 100. And some point in the future, the 50 is going to be 500 instead of the 250 that it was. And the 65 is going to be gigabit. And we will overlay our system with 10 gig services and have additional tiers and plans that are updated. And so that's coming.
So these 2 plans you've already submitted to us, are, is this where you plan to start in the city?
I think so. These are, I don't think we've actually, we don't want to consider what we sent a submission. It was more of a conversation for this.
Yeah, because
Coming to the city.
it'll kind of be around this area, I believe. I just chose the area where we wanted our cabinet and I just decided to start there. And then with that said, whatever you guys decide on where you guys want us, whether it's the public utility easement or the right of way, I will adjust everything again. It'll change just a little bit, not too much. And yeah, once you guys are ready or.
Do you know in this meeting where you want it? Would you want it in the PUE or the?
Well, it all depends. I would prefer it in the right of way.
Okay.
Would be my preference,
Okay.
but I also understand a lot of little pockets and areas, cul-de-sacs. Don't have said right of way, park strip, so that has to go on the PUE.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're flexible that way. We're looking to make sure our residents can have something better than what's current.
Right away, I can get to.
It can be congested.
Park is
Yeah.
too crowded.
And again,
Yeah, so.
that's what we're saying, we're flexible, to let's assess, and see where things fall.
And that's the other reason why I call in the 25 feet on both sides of the road, just for that same reason. The other thing that I noticed while planning this, that there is that little canal that goes right there. So I'm gonna readjust these, or the areas that I started working on, to cross that the least amount of times as possible. I didn't know if you guys need extra permits or something submitted.
All through Western Irrigation.
Okay.
You have to call Western Irrigation Company. I don't necessarily know if they have a system.
They usually do, and historically, it's really, really hard to get through the process. It can take a really long time. So we usually avoid the canals
Yes.
if at all possible.
And again, yeah. And
Western irrigation a little bit. Have you had to cross Western before?
Probably
I don't remember that.
I know it's through
It's the Western drain.
Drain.
So the city maintains that.
Yeah.
Western Canal, the Western Irrigation Company, I think a sort of formalized permitting process. So.
So our secondary runs along that canal too.
Yes. I do, that's.
Yeah,
Either way, like I said, we try to avoid.
and then the park strip, the newer subdivision, that's where we reside, that's where our services come in.
Well,
You'll-
that's the other thing is.
Yeah, I mean,
At that point, park
there's
strips.
that. It's better not to be in that.
Water meter boxes, secondary
Yeah.
meter boxes.
Yeah, so you can cross a lot of services that way.
And if you guys have maps that you're able to share or something like that, then we can actually take that into account while we're doing the build, if you want us to avoid you completely. Because I know it's usually harder to mark some of the water than it is some of the other utilities that have more metal involved.
Well, all those areas were park strip we know where they're at.
Yeah.
And if they're PV'd on, there's a little PV ground curve where they come in, but it's usually a double service, so you'll see two master valves side by side, and that's for their filter and so it's a lot to deal with.
Even a big highlight of we're in the park strip, even if
Yeah.
it's some of the actual utilities, if we just know to avoid even going in the park strip for some areas, we can do that, coordinate out with you in the city. So we're happy to adjust our plan so it's more convenient for everybody. Yeah,
I worked in the blue staking and that kind of stuff for 13 years, so I kind of know
Yeah.
a little bit of like, we should avoid doing this, so I kind of help direct some of the planning. Go with that kind of situation, just because I know how much of a pain it can be, whether if it gets hit, we're just working around it.
They went for sidewalk.
And
it's okay.
I just want
could do that.
Let's see.
how far in the slide you went out. It was the first area you started with.
It's coming, we were waiting for the rain, and so we're bringing fiber up the 89.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've been waiting for that. So we have a ton of like, it's done, ready to go. Fiber should be coming. He wants it too, don't get me wrong.
If we don't follow up, we'll wait for your, do you have community development? Are they willing to come and?
Yeah, if you let us know, we'll try to get conduit in there. We've actually had all the times our conduit gets wrecked by some of the other groups that come and put some stuff in, if that's intentional or not, but
You guys.
usually if it's a decent size, usually. We get a number, yeah.
You guys can reach out to Glenn. We have a committee portal.
Okay.
So you'll submit it to the portal.
Yeah,
And then, like I said, in part of that, we probably won't build till the end of the phase. Because we've got to count in number of times you crossed under the road. That's $500 per time you cross under the road. You know, if you have to pop hole in the road, then we, road cut permit fee, all that.
Yeah.
So it just essentially kind of, we don't want to try to guesstimate at the front end. We'd rather wait till the work's done. But we will issue that permit, issue an invoice after, and then we won't allow a phase to move on until that previous invoice is paid.
And we'll look at the fee structure with you. A lot of cities aren't aware of the state and sometimes federal laws too with these. So we've had cities that charge us $150 permit, and then we've had cities that try to charge $6,000 per permit. And it's way outside of the legal limit for what they're supposed to do. So hopefully you guys are within the realm of reason, but we'll look at it.
We have a fee structure set up that falls within the state, and that's just kind of states, we're not gonna charge you essentially boring through the PUE right away, but any time you go under the roadway, that's what we're gonna.
Okay.
Because essentially that collapses and.
So we typically bond with the city. Cities actually aren't supposed to.
Fire.
Cities aren't supposed to have a fund that reserve the money to cover potential damage costs. That's actually.
And we don't.
Yeah.
It isn't a fee schedule.
And like I said, we'll go through all that and kind of sit down with you guys and make sure we're good and that we're in a good place with everything. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate your time.
Good. Oh, if you know there's stuff that you want to get hooked up in the future, if pump stations or anything like that or whatever, we try to accommodate that where possible. So at least we'll try to throw a vault in at the front of the road or area. And again, if the fees are within the realm that they're supposed to be for the permitting fees and stuff like that, a lot of times we'll do the hookups free if they're within the same range as like residential hookup would be.
Yeah, because we're starting a couple self-owned irrigations pumps. So.
And so if you have stuff, city buildings, public buildings.
Sorry.
Yeah, city buildings, public pumps and things like that, if you
Yeah,
want.
we're building a big pump.
And then we do an independent network for the city to connect that stuff, so. Yep, okay, thank you, Doug. Thank you.
And anything you can send us in the meantime for advertising.
Good. In case anybody wants to, a physical copy. Thank you. Well. Not, not.
So we're gonna share screen so that we have a join us. Live. That's your- So I'm gonna let you guys take over this one. This is the preliminary improvement plan review.
Second submission.
How dare you? It's all right, you're the boss. Yeah, actually, do we want to start with that, bringing up to speed on?
So they went back to their geotech and having really hard time trying to get grab attention to what. Spag.
Right.
Because of what the soil is.
Yeah.
So we made the concession and Leland's been working on getting the new calculations and told you on the two city-owned basins, they're gonna be deeper, but they will put fence down.
So these two.
Okay. Yeah, I think, Leland, I think is that reflected in this submittal you sent the other day? No.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And if you were to go to C635, it's there.
There's not 50.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I went through your response to comments, like, I haven't had time to go through all 57 pages, but I did go through your response to comments on the improvement plans. So, with that expanded size, right, so we're not gonna have retention because of the clay soils out there, which is fine, cause we don't want some nuisance that we have to deal with. So what, I'm trying to remember, how did you size these? What size of storm did you size these, detention?
100-year, 100-year storm.
Well, there may be, because in our standards, I think we allow for, well, it depends on what we consider local and, regional. The local basins, I believe, I'll have to double check that we allow for 25 years on the detention, ponds.
And I've got no, do you want to hold back up there, your story?
Yeah, right. I mean, if we have the size, I guess it's just not if you,
But essentially it's flowing into a regional.
regional basin right there, right?
That's right there. So I don't know, we need to double up that capacity.
Right. So we could potentially look at it again and see what the 25-year volume would be and maybe not have to go that large.
We will definitely do that, because if we can eliminate that small portion of underground storage, we definitely want to do that.
And if we can get to a depth where we don't need a fence, that would be even better. We kind of see them as an obstruction to the. But we're happy to do the fence if that's needed, but.
Well, we just have a depth.
Right. If it's over 4, I think, that we require a fence in case it fills up and is a safety hazard, but. Okay, we can double check that and maybe we can adjust those again. Or like Leland said, it may allow you to eliminate, but they still have one small side or small area of underground.
About 7,100 cubic feet.
Right there, so. Okay, now, Leland, do you remember, so I know you went a little deeper on these ponds, but were you able to keep the bottom of these ponds still above that high water mark of the floodplain?
Yes,
That's great, because that was just, I know the other ponds were fine, we just want to make sure that, yeah, if Dixon Creek or that regional pond does back up, that they're not backing up into these local basins. So, okay, cool. Let's see, on, well, we've got Brian here. One question we had was on the width of the private roads. Have you seen what they're proposing?
I don't think anything.
Yeah, I think the curve red, so it's on street parking.
Yeah, so they're 24 from back curb to back. So they got 19,
24.
it's not 24 of asphalt.
Maybe I read it wrong, but that was,
And-
it was 24.
Yeah, there's
Sure.
cross sections on C4.
Yeah. But yeah, we need 20 feet, so that's still.
Yeah, let me find the page.
410, C410 should have it. Right.
Page 6. Yeah, down at the bottom. So that private, so if you scroll in there. So you got 19 feet of asphalt and the 2.5 foot roll curb on both sides. So. Yeah. I mean, I know your guys driving would probably prefer the full width of the asphalt.
Can we drop the curb to a 2 foot and gain the foot that we need in asphalt?
What do you need, Ryan?
So it's supposed to be 20 feet, but that's still, if we're coming down, you still have room for a curb go by.
Yeah. And we're considering the pan drivable space. And so if it's a dimension call out, is there an option to change from a 30-inch road curb to a 24-inch road curb?
I mean, guess I'll defer to you.
Yeah, well, and all the code has to be 20 feet of drivable space, so. If we break a road curb, we could have a heavy truck.
Right, no, we understand the
It's
private road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So with the pan, these are, I think you have an 18-inch pan on this roll curb.
Yeah.
12-inch, so if you consider the pan, you've got 22 feet of drivable. They probably don't like, I don't think I would consider the part where you're very drivable,
no,
but the pan is 22. Yeah, so my only comment there was just to make sure that Ryan was okay. Let's see, what we're doing on, oh, we have the street sections there. And the other one, right there. Pointed to I didn't. I think that's already. Oh, yeah. The other option. So.
You have to have your courtesy signed up.
Just so everyone's aware, one of the bigger changes on this concept, you can scroll up, is they had to move the connection of one of these private roads, it's 375 east.
and do you still want that addressed as 375 east? It changed directions.
Yeah.
Not really east.
Goofy ones, that's on the angle there, right?
Yeah,
We will probably have them update that, because that fiveplex right there,
yes,
we'll probably have something like, what close and find down here.
and you are addressing from the garage side. I just want to clarify, because sometimes cities go back and forth,
Yeah.
and it's not for ESP, but it's.
This is on the face.
Yeah.
I'll see if you'll see where that.
Okay.
Yes, I know we did.
No, and yes, you did. I just want to make sure that that's your, so it's on this, it changes and causes confusion. And we'll put a house number on the front and the back that corresponds with that addressing. But it won't, I mean, it doesn't match traditional on the front of the house. So,
Most of these, I think it's still late. You're right, but I mean, they'll be off of that. But if you see it on the other side, I think it still makes sense, right? Yeah. Did you have, Leland, and maybe I missed this, did you have a response to comments, or I can just go through all of them on the plat? Good, okay, we had two different memos, one was on the plat, and one was on the improvement plans. I know I've got your memo on the response to comments on the improvement plans.
there was, there's not a memo.
It was written.
Well, we got yours, we didn't send one back.
Okay, and that's fine. I mean, I don't mind, I just want to miss something. I can still walk through my comments and make sure they're addressed. That's not a big issue for me. I just want to make
Amen.
Yep.
For you two, do find you. So I think the third item, it involved us.
And we still need to get to that calculated phase.
That was so where are you starting?
We're starting with phase one, so these 102 units will be our first phase, and then we have another 90 or so on this other 2 parcels that are being constructed.
Okay.
We're working on, we had landscape plans and then we had to move this.
Yeah, once you get, we will leave green space for all of us, we can calculate the right side of the connection, because everything's gonna become 1,300. That always will read it down. So yeah, once you get those
Here's.
green space calculations.
Here's the.
Yeah.
Utility.
So yeah, that's. Yeah, and then when you get it finalized, send me a full set of drawings and green space and figure out where the connections are gonna go and what size.
And when you say full set of drawings, you want the full set of my landscape or the full set of my engineering? Or both?
Both.
Okay.
So right now, they're showing you just coming up out of Flush Nest,
Yeah,
and then you don't have anything up on Washington.
no, so we'll just go.
Okay with the dead end?
Yeah, that's what we'll do. So we'll put, I imagine they'll want more than the connection, so we'll just kind of work the see where you prefer them and get the right sizes to you. But
Yeah, I think we'll probably have 2. We'll have one for this first phase and then a second.
and then,
And we may have to have another across the street, so 3.
and it'll also be metered too, so.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You're right, Crystal, that's what they're showing right now. We've got one kind of. Extend where they stop, and then they've got one run across the street.
Yeah, right across the street there too, yeah. I know you've gone through the process, you got what's in the district and stuff, now you've gone through all the board and like I say, everything else is good, we just need the final set. Your green space.
Okay. And as far as green space, do you count it all the same? Because we tend to do a lot of water-wise landscaping where it's mostly gravel mulch, and not grasses.
Yeah, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
Yeah, the water, it's all the same.
Okay, well, we've been successful in having people give us credit for being not quite so wasted. But, because I can calculate.
It could be.
Yeah. Okay. And what was your name?
Doug.
I'm guessing they'll need to. Loop. Yeah, I mean, you got the culvert crossing on Dixon Creek. So I'm sure they can coordinate that with you, whether they just gradually get low enough to get under it, or they put up.
Yeah, we'll apply on that,
Yeah.
figure out what to do there.
13. Profile shows culinary, doesn't show the secondary on the profile, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they can work that out with you. Looks like they're showing it with a couple feet of clearance on it, like, which you guys usually like. But,
Please. Yeah. How much you got off the top? Well,
yeah.
you get 24, 30 inches. So.
Shoot 36. You seem like it would get that.
I'm thinking that diesel implies, don't think we get
Really, so we'll be going under
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
We might can do a half a loop or something that way, see. We just need to be able to drain our main for the winter months, so yeah, make sure it drains.
That's just showing you've got, their plans are showing you've got about 2 feet from the top of asphalt to the top of the box culvert. Right there. They're,
That's a question.
the road's coming up a little bit.
Yeah, so there's some build.
And then you've got, it's, to the bottom of their culvert, the bottom of the culvert is about 6 feet down.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Plan show 2 feet clearance. I mean, I'm sure whatever you guys are comfortable with. They show 2 feet right now, Blake, for yours, but
Yeah, we can figure that out.
yeah, right. But 2 feet of clearance, yeah, 8 feet down to the top of your pipe.
Yeah.
Those box culvert you're putting in there, looks like.
Yeah,
So that box culvert is a part of the Dixon Creek and Clomar improvements. That's gotta get done by the Scott Group. It's a different set of plans that was done in 2022, I think.
right, that was one question I had too, because is that gonna be constructed by the same contractor as a part? I know that it was on the Scott Group to get that done.
It still is on the Scott Group to get that done.
Okay, but I don't know, they submitted stuff to
So it's
FEMA.
been submitted to FEMA, but they haven't gotten any response yet, the last time I checked. We're getting close to a 60-day mark. FEMA has 90 days to review, so we're just waiting for the response. But it's
The same next.
Sure, I just didn't know, and I have to double check their plans, if they had actual like construction drawings of the dimensions of like the head wall, wall
Yeah.
structure and all of that. Like, we just need to have that to make sure when it's built, that we can inspect it and
They
make sure it's
sent me a
built.
copy of what was recently submitted, so like that.
That'd be great. And if you wanna just, yeah, I guess maybe on these plans, we just put by others or.
I believe that's how you referenced
Maybe
it.
that's-
Leland, is that how you done, is it work by others?
It is worked by others. With,
Have we made that reference clear though?
well, we're calling it an existing culvert here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right, right there. Are you okay, Justin, with? They're showing an inlet box on outdoor culvert. Did your plans have anywhere showing a detail of how they're to construct that?
No, there's not.
Oh, yeah, sorry, John. Yes, say another.
No. You moved on.
Do you have anything else you want to?
No, I think I'm good.
Sorry, I just got fixated on this area and
No,
forgot what we were talking
take care.
Yes.
You got it.
about. Thanks, guys. Okay, sorry, maybe I should get Barnabas a text. Hurry us down.
No. I got work to next meeting.
Oh, well, just while we're there, I guess it'd be good to see, Justin, the concerns with, so I think what they're showing is they wanna cut in, so they would have to cut the top of that. The top, yeah, oh, right. We may wanna coordinate that, 'cause,
Yeah, I mean, we'll want to see this.
yeah,
Yeah, you know, they can actually put a section box culvert with the prefab.
that's what they should do.
Yeah.
And then you can get the proper reinforcement around that, instead of just cutting.
So that's we'll want to see this middle again. I'll have to deal with Scott on the appointment, so,
Who's involved?
yeah. Poor guys.
I'm looking up this set of plans that shows that culvert. Because I think it does show a couple of holes in the top specifically for that purpose. So give me just a second.
That's completing.
Yeah, because the other issue with that, although if it's a small area, probably okay, but that water's, whatever's done into that's just going straight into the creek, going through the detention.
Yeah, that it comes
That's
all off of
everything that comes.
Washington Boulevard.
And then,
Yeah.
It's gonna be. Well, North Hawkins too far. So is it?
This is all Lockett City.
Actually.
I don't think.
Sorry, you're good.
Across the road. Yeah.
North, is that canal?
Yeah, it doesn't, no, oh, it's a little bit higher.
Okay.
It drops into 4 Mile.
Yeah.
Sunset.
What we said they're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well. What's that? Yes, yeah. And a couple of restaurants on. Let's see. Okay, did you see the, Justin and Glenn, did you guys see the striping plan?
This is the first time I've seen it, so.
Yeah. I think I like it. Yeah, so striping plan is page, 420. So that's, So I asked them, we had talked about including striping all the way through, County Road all the way to Bush Nest. So I think I like the way they're showing it. So you got your left and right turn lanes up at Washington. And then it just goes to just so you'll just have a solid yellow down the middle and then a white. So you got 11-foot lanes and then you have a 7-foot shoulder.
Are you not making them put the 600 foot in there,
600 foot of what?
the turn lane off of Washington?
Oh, off of Washington?
Yeah, cause that's what they require. Both sides.
That is a good question that I was gonna bring up as well, as far as the UDOT approval. I know
Yep.
That, again, like Leland mentioned, about UDOT approval was through the Scott group. Did they ever get an access permit?
I've been told they have, but I haven't seen it.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, also.
They have an access for this spot and the one up above where the road will come through the Public Works building at some point.
Right.
But the original ones had the 600-foot turn lane in and out for the right and right out.
I mean, honestly, I don't know, if you guys, it'd be nice to have those plans referenced in here, or just so we have it all in one set of drawings. And the access permit, we can get a copy of that. I looked through my files, I didn't have it, maybe they sent it before, I can't remember. But we need to see that UDOT has approved that access. And I wonder if you may have to file an extension, because typically when they give those access permits, you have 1 year from the access permit to start construction. And if we did that last year, we're probably up on that. You have details. We do have that. Okay. Maybe I can say that one. What was the date?
It was issued on 10/10/22, so it's way over.
I'm assuming they have it same, if you scroll down, it's pretty. It's that 1 year.
They're producing, I mean.
All right, if they give it before, right.
I'd just reach out to
Should
him.
be, but if we go back, looks like I said.
Oh, it says right there, it's that first paragraph above, per administrative code conditional access permit shall expire the access construction not complete within 12 months of the issue of state.
Yeah. Oh, right there, UDOT road line,
Oh, yeah.
is there a? They're calling out, they're 600 feet.
Go to the other sheets, see if there's a. Striking.
Yeah, so. Right there, that elongated.
Like, even though like they got this access permit, this is a condition of this whole development. So it'd be nice to have these, if they are. Or maybe they're not. Yeah, Leland, can you include these sheets in the overall package, the improvement plans?
I'm sorry, which sheets?
Sorry, these UDOT, like these striping, these UDOTs, the road design sheets that UDOT's requiring.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing with him, so he doesn't.
Oh, sorry, shared screen.
So sorry. But they don't have.
So you're
them,
talking about this set of plans with the,
So this is the UDOT approved set,
uh-huh,
so it just incorporates what UDOT striping is required out on Washington Boulevard. Which is that 600.
okay. Let me just say this, this was a separate set of plans that was supposed to be a different project that was supposed to be completed before this one. If we're gonna make this the same set of plans, I guess that's fine. And I can do that, but I just want to be sure that's what you want to do.
Well, we just want to make sure that we call out the striping out on the UDOT highway that UDOT has approved.
I mean, this is essentially, because they're not separate projects at this point, right? I mean, they're gonna be done all at the same time.
Okay, on this project, we have an entrance for Harrisville Park, which is not going to be constructed at this time. And then we have an entrance for 1300 North.
Right, but your UDOT access agreement is actually based upon both of those roads. So when you reach out to UDOT and get an extension, it's just cleaner if we show At least with your phase plan, at least the 1300 north phase of the striping.
Yeah, I mean, we can, whatever you guys. We can also reference these, I guess, on the other sheets. That's fine. It's just nice to have it all in one spot.
I hate that.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
come on.
think,
Or not.
I think the best thing, the best. Most streamlined thing here would be to show all of that striping for 1300 north. On this plan.
Yes, right. Don't worry about the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
And then just reference this set of plans.
yes.
Okay.
And then you don't see.
Right, or he could, yeah, he could add whatever's required for 1300 north.
Yeah.
Into these plans, I think. Which is just, right, the turn lane's there for 1300 north, not for that future one that's.
It's shown a park strip there.
Not to get then.
That was the other question, so when you're bringing up. I think the reason they show Park Strip, the other businesses along in the house. Has a park strip.
Cause I know UDOT wants 8 foot back curb.
They prefer to us.
Yeah.
And to match existing, mixed input on that, but we told them that we would match existing where it exists.
Cause right now, some of that existing is only 36 inches.
To be in that same look, because we're happy with our buildings to curve it so that it's buildings and then curve it and make another connection, because we're gonna have to go around whatever Dominion's gonna do on the corner anyway, so it would make a natural transition for us.
Because Matt was.
And we avoided double sidewalk. Right now, we would have the one that's out on the street, and then we'd have access to our buildings on inside, yeah.
So Dominion Energy, if we go back to their set. In this corner,
There's an easement that runs the whole length of that property.
And it's horizontal. And then they're gonna change it to wood in the ground.
in this,
They want that corner, they don't want to keep going down.
so there's a possibility that we could change the sidewalk. On Washington, because there's going to be an access. For them to get back to their new station. So that is a possibility that just in the.
Yeah, so so what you were saying, so is have actually a bigger park strip, bring that sidewalk over.
Move those walkers away from the busy street.
Yeah, do we need to have it in the right of way though? Like we could put it maybe as close as we could to the right of way. So if you go to sheet, or go back to the other plans. Go to sheet 6. Yeah. So you get,
You've got the dot, she's showing.
right, so you're saying, let's try to get one sidewalk instead of two. Right there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So on that sidewalk, is your HOA gonna be taking care of that?
Yes.
Okay.
So it would jot in here where the Dominion station's gonna be, and then it would continue north. Instead of being out here by the roadway.
Yeah. Then
And then it would have to come back,
I mean, it could judge.
should it cross, and then,
And even if we looked at maybe doing something more, just right in between the two.
that's what I'm
Straighten it
saying.
out.
Do we need to keep it in the right of way, I guess, is, cause like the public sidewalk, cause it's.
You will
That's.
Yes.
thinking of these people living here, they,
I know.
if they're fronting that, they're gonna care.
I don't keep it in there. No, because I mean, I wouldn't place it as close to the building.
Yeah.
I would move it.
You get that
Yes.
distance.
Yeah.
I get it, like we might meet in the middle.
Uh-huh.
On the
And
property.
we can grant an easement with the plat for the public use of that sidewalk. That's.
I think that makes sense, rather than two parallel sidewalks.
Pulling it off though, will. Two parallel sidewalks, is just more maintenance for you guys. Essentially, what usually happens there is that the interior one gets done and sometimes
I
the
would guess.
exterior one gets done.
Right.
Do we have, do we want just a straight shot? Do you want to kind of meander at all?
Well, I mean, to kind of, we'll have to look how it meanders around the,
Yeah.
Here,
and then, I mean, we don't need a nature trail.
Come on, man, let's get artsy here.
We prefer straight sidewalk.
We don't have any landscape architects in here. We, I'd go a little wider, kind of like,
Well, so
which I think is
you don't,
saying you should do it.
like, you don't set tape up
well, they do it when they're.
when the back foot, I think they're calling out now that they want a minimum of 6 foot.
I think you're right. I think right now he's got it drawn as a 5.
Yeah.
And I know the existing stuff, you know, over by Public Works and the gymnastics and down by going the other way, they probably have 4, but.
I just, I guess you should
Some of
be your skating class.
So if we get a 6 foot,
Yeah, 6 foot and try to, maybe just keep it right on that front.
Okay. On the public easement grant. So,
Well, if you keep it,
Keep it east of
if you keep it right, like if you put the west side of the sidewalk right on that property, then
okay,
maybe you wouldn't need that, and then you just extend your entrances to those
Yep.
front doors out to it. Sounds working.
so it just gets, now you don't come up. Yep. Well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure, Barry.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big park strip. Yeah. That's where the snow goes. And that will fall on the. No.
Good job.
You guys make those older.
And. And we're very stay. Yeah. Stay.
And you've got almost 24 feet from the property line to the back and curb. So you may have, 17, 18 feet,
okay,
from the curb back to the sidewalk.
okay.
It's pretty big.
Okay, nice protection for pedestrians.
Yes. Do we need to, I know they defer to us, is that gonna affect their UDOT plan that they've submitted?
Well, when you ask for the update
Maybe send
to
them over
the
them.
permit, I would call out with it. Cause this road changed as well, where it ties in. So,
Yeah, that was based on our traffic report. He told us we need a lead separate.
Which actually, this is a little bit closer to the original plan, like if you went to that UDOT
Yeah.
set, that one was back over to. So that's too big of a change for them, I don't think.
so anything that's different, I would just draw to VDOT's attention. And it should say, I'll send you the permit, it should give you the contact. I believe.
Yeah. I haven't worked with this region.
It's David Alter.
No, it's fine.
Brother signed it, David's one, that's all that. Introducers, yeah.
Anything else?
No, I mean, I'll go through the rest of it.
Are there any outstanding comments from the last room that we need to make sure we've caught?
I went through all the comments, like, it's like, my only other question was that there was a comment about the retaining wall. And the fence on top of the retaining wall. Who's maintaining? Who's responsible for that? Is that, meaning mowing the grass, or is there grass, or is that gonna be a maintenance issue where the mower fence and pushes it over?
So there's a couple of different retaining spots. You have to tell.
It was the one, yeah, that was there. So up by the intersection there, that one right there.
who's. That's in the common area, so I think it's all on the way, who should want to take it.
And we're planning anything behind the retaining wall to be just natural.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and we do want an entry monument, but we probably won't do that until you get to past. Here, yeah, here or on the other side, yeah.
Is that whole thing natural around that?
Yeah,
Above the walls?
Yeah, because it's the river, it's the creek, and then the wetlands being.
See, Leland, in your response memo,
Okay, question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That does become part of this parcel A, I think it is, because that connects all the way back and runs to the front, yeah. So it would fall not in common area.
It would be the
cities.
You're gonna
Yeah, that was the question of that.
It's this whole parcel with the retention basin is.
well, so he's got it shown as parcel E to be owned by HOA. So parcel C flows.
Okay, you did separate them.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're on with that.
That's fine.
So the HOA.
The HOA,
So we will,
unless you want it, I'd love to.
It's gonna rock all the fence or, so.
Okay, oh, is there on that, the details for that wall? There's a your memo said it's on 520 and 521. I didn't see a sheet 520, is it just 521?
I'm
No,
sorry,
it's-
520 is missing, but 521 does show that detail.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was a sheet missing, is 520 missing or is there not a five?
Yeah, 520 just shows the locations of the three
Oh.
walls.
Did
So
mine just matter, where is 520?
It's after 510.
It's not, 512 is stuck in there in between. Or did I do that? So 512 is after 520, that was what's throwing me out. Sorry,
Oh,
okay, sorry. There's
yes,
5.
it's out of order.
We're good.
so you can.
It's I just didn't go one more back, I just went from 521 and jumped to 512. That's fine, no, you just got combined.
so you've got three retaining ones, all within the HOA. Well, this one,
That one falls in water,
this area of that.
Yeah.
Retention.
it's more the whole creek,
Coming into the wall. So, I mean, I just open it up.
We're gonna have rock pond. That will spray anyways, we're not gonna be mowing anything. It's not, I don't see a big issue with the retaining wall.
What's the height of the retaining wall gonna be? Feet.
Yeah, I think you go to sheet or 21.
You've got, they got.
Off wall, actually, call it.
It's a return.
Creek,
Got
yeah, 42 blocks, yeah. So it's engineered.
So they won't need to be, they will not need to have a building for the.
They're 1915 up to 2365, 4.5 feet.
So now.
4, it's over 4 feet.
No. Take 3.
The guard for the guy in the wheelchair.
Okay, anything else, Matt? Cause we'll get his comments back to you, I think it's full
Mhm.
this meeting within
Quicker.
That'd be great. We really want to.
next.
Or vacation.
And it's, I mean, based on this, we'll see so many comments. And we
Yeah.
still technically have 2 more reviews, so.
We should be able to, I think we'll be able
We
to.
were hoping to have been through a couple before.
Yeah, your lists are much smaller.
I think we could. Shoot, although the other approvals, like, have you, I think, has he sent the plat to the county for review?
No, but we can do
I
that.
want to get started on.
Yeah, because I don't know how long they take, so.
We pay you in approval with you guys.
It's just got sent off to the engineer. It will be fair for comments.
Yeah, we'll have to have all those reviews completed before.
So a review from the county, Buena Vista, Pine View. Are we good with the buyer?
All right.
You're right.
And so we get the buyer letter and so get it to, I guess an extension or updated. Yeah, I do that.
And did we already get, you know, we may want to check and see if, I'll check on it. To you, if I don't, I'll let you know. This will be Rocky Mountain.
They signed the plat.
They send a plat?
Well, no.
Say, that's unusual. Oh, do they? Okay. We just, yeah.
Oh, we appreciate cities that don't comment, but.
That's a lot of blocks.
But that is, yes, it's a typical block, several in Utah County. It's weird in Washington.
Okay, do you have any questions for us? For some of
No,
us?
so we'll get his comments, we'll resubmit, timeframe wise. It's just this body, right, that gives us our approval to our public meetings.
And as long as you have the reviews from Bonavista Vista buyer,
It's all done, completed.
Yeah,
then we can call a meeting of the administrative land authority
okay,
anytime we need to.
okay.
That's all questions. I asked the address in question.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. It's good to have more things checked off your list.
Who do you guys have for Indeed? Next was first, right?
Yeah, but in that area, I believe there's probably Xfinity, no, there's Comcast.
So you're.
Yeah.
Forward, right there, where they're.
Check.
Because they have the Dominion line.
Oh, that's true. You're close. Key Bailey where that Dominion line is, they may have something there.
Okay.
But there's Comcast on in the Washington corridor.
And CenturyLink is all.
Have you?
Essentially, there are public works buildings just right there, you go to start.
Start.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just a satellite.
Yeah, that's.
We like to provide 3 options. I tend to stay away from satellites because you have to have.
Yes.
everything. So I will reach out. That's why I asked if they'd come in, even if they don't get to me for a year. The content, yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Leland.
Thank you.
You gotta tell us how much we can charge.
Never get that.
Outside. Did you not get my? Yeah, you need that too. I'll have Tyler try to send it.
Sure,
My phone was being weird, so I don't know.
it'd just be easier for us to all see. And if you, I'll send it to you. If you don't want that.
I'll have Tyler send it to you.
Meanwhile, come on up to the table, we can start. a little bit of a review here for the team. So an update on the progress of, we haven't named this project, we just call it the Larsen Hollow. Development, the one, Larsen Lane. So the planning commission made a recommendation at their January meeting to move that forward.
For mixed use.
For mixed use, yes, the mixed use general plan, mixed use. And the developer and I had, conversation since then. And we needed a legal opinion from Brody on, because our cluster development, as we had met before, we talked about utilizing cluster development for this development particularly, and it had some contradictory language in it. So we wanted to get Brody's legal opinion on it, and his opinion to us is if our code contradicts itself, it's active. And so we're able to waive the smallest lot size, R110, which conflicts with the density that is being requested for this project. So we've gone back to the cluster development idea for the project. So that's kind of a quick update on where we are as a team in the discussion. So they've gone to the drawing board as far as, whoops, I was on the, to see what, there we go. To see what options, and this is Tyler, which I think everybody knows Tyler.
Yep, Tyler, he's our engineer on this. So, and he just completed a survey. So, and this is a revised conceptual from what we brought to the last work meeting. And there was a request from the fire department that this road was further north. And it made a longer course here. And so we have shifted that road south to allow the fire department to, to meet their requirements. Yeah, 150. And then we also, the other request that we had from Justin was that there be a manhole here, somewhere in here. And so what we're proposing is we actually flipped. So the retention pond was over here. We put the retention pond over here. And I don't know exactly where your manhole is out here in front of this Love property.
Well, there won't be one. You'll put one in.
So there's not one there now.
Into the sewer.
Okay.
It's on the opposite side of the road.
Okay, so our intention is to put right in this area, to put a manhole for connection to the sewer.
Which that would give you a way to make a drivable surface off that road
Correct,
to that.
correct. Now, we won't have drivability
No,
here.
and that's fine.
Yeah,
As long as we, but they will have to make sure that we do still have that 20-foot easement
yep,
on that side of that house.
yep.
But other than that, yeah, I like it.
What's that?
Yeah, they don't have 20 feet on the side of the house, it's 18 and a half. I measured the house.
Okay.
Yeah, here.
Yeah. So I guess 15.
We can work within 15, essentially.
Yeah, it's 18 feet. It's right up
Essentially.
mine against that. But you got a gas meter there too, so you want to be careful with that.
Right, essentially, it's, so if that line ever breaks, we can dig it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe get an easement at all on the other side of the property line, so that if you did have to.
You've got the shed.
Yeah.
We looked at this shed too. You mean here? Oh, this property.
Yeah, so the split, so you have on both sides of the.
They don't own that.
I'm thinking, if we can do the 18-foot PUV.
Okay.
Sewer easement, sorry.
Yeah.
Sewer easement. We don't want all other public utilities going through that.
Right, these specifics.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll
I
leave
think we
this,
can-
so this retention pond, we'll leave this drivable, you know, so that you can get past there.
Essentially, I say drivable, but it has to be considered a hard surface by city standard. Because essentially,
Right.
we'll have to take a sewer cleaner truck that's
Right. Yeah,
pretty heavy.
yeah. And then
But
we'll
that helps us
create,
there.
and then we'll create an easement along here.
And that helps us to maintain the retention pond also.
Yeah, so we'll create an easement along there.
Cool.
So I've calculated the bonus density. The bonus density, if I apply it, I've applied bonus density for a couple of things for the amenities. So we're including pickleball courts here. We've got a pavilion here, play area here. This is all gonna be, we're probably gonna just leave this all open. The only thing that Tyler, I think will probably make a change here is we'll probably put some parking slots right here so that people can access
Yeah.
pickleball courts and, I mean, this is not public, access for pickleball courts, it's just for the development. But it would be nice to have a few parking spots right there. So I think we'll do that. And then we've also got, and then I'm also including bonus density. So including the amenities, there will be CC&Rs that will require front porches on all of the, on all of the single family homes. There will be a landscaped entrance. And then the pavilion, which we talked about. So if I apply the bonus density, I'm up to 31.75. And 31.75. So we're proposing 30. Now, these two lots that front Larsen Lane, people won't have to actually go into the development for those. So I'm guessing that we'll probably put driveways here. This one you could drive from that side, potentially.
Slope of the.
Yeah. So I think probably both of these would be accessed from Larsen Lane. This one will probably end up being accessed from here, I'm guessing, just to match the labor.
Owner access
This one accessed from Larsen,
off of the new road. Both
this one. Oh, so both of these to be accessed from this new road.
The access is.
It could definitely stop some and do a rear.
Yeah, sure.
Drive.
Garage in the back or something.
Okay.
Or side.
Okay.
Or side drive. There's just such an elevation
There's a
change.
huge elevation.
Yeah.
The road's so busy, I wish we actually had less
Okay.
accesses on that road.
Okay.
This is a line. Okay.
That's perpendicular and that's the actual line of the subdivision itself.
It's a little, Wallen Way comes in a little goofy.
Yeah.
But as long as it lines up,
Yeah, it's perfectly lined up,
yeah,
so
I'm probably okay.
based on survey.
Who's gonna serve the secondary in there?
That's gonna fall back.
So you guys are gonna put secondary in there?
Well, that's the negotiation we have to come up with. Are they going to tie in, are we gonna somehow pull up the drum Warren Hall and up into there?
Is Warren Hall get done?
Hey, sorry.
And we really should have made Doug stay here so we could make him feel bad again.
Yeah.
Working with
For
Warren Hall
servicing this area.
as much as we can.
Yeah.
So, yes, they do assume that if it's not there, doesn't soon. We're going to.
And there's that, they tapped that here, remember? When you got here, Larsen Lane,
Yeah.
put in that, so.
Yeah, you are.
Most not.
To where this
No.
is, do you remember where the?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it, like,
Sorry.
Yeah.
on this to connection.
Can you see it? I can't reach it.
Yeah, it's not.
So are you keeping the Dave Brown house?
Just in between. the-
Well-
Or are you guys getting rid of it?
That's Hicks here. So Brown's property's right here.
Yeah,
That's gone.
Okay.
Gone.
okay,
Yeah,
cause I know it
cause
does.
it actually hangs over, it's like straight, right in line with the road. It's like right here. Yeah, so that will be gone.
Thank you.
So the lawn of.
So where is your connection?
It's right, yeah. That's what you hear there.
See, they put 8 inch right
So
here.
this is the Brown property right here.
Yes, and that they couldn't acquire that. So that's when they tapped that there to come in. Morning.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, obviously you ain't gonna be able to use that, so that's gonna have to, well, get disconnected.
Yeah.
Sure.
Don't talk to Justin and just.
Throw it down some hairs and bring it over.
Oh, yeah, right in the front yard. Yeah. We'll put more concrete in. Throw a splot. Yeah.
Well, we could see, yeah, it looks like.
You get secondary to that second lot up there anyway, so you're gonna be digging,
Up to here.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, we just essentially probably.
Well, we could also,
Right.
yeah, I mean, we could also.
Yeah, yes.
Well, what we do is just have you put 2 meters right at that lot. And run services in.
Yeah, the cool thing about flexible is you're essentially, it's right there, you're pretty much up to the curb.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be tearing up their access anyway, so it's gonna have, so if you put in a new cap right there. In the middle, like, it's not gonna affect much of our, well, I don't think it's a big deal.
When you want to disconnect, was that, do we remember if that was hot tap?
No, it was T in,
To you?
yes, because that was all put in when they put it
Are you gonna want
in. We won't pull the T out, though.
to?
If Jay plug in or something.
Make it back. Well, take them out now.
Yeah, we won't paint it out.
Those valves are like in the gutter right there, say, they're pretty close.
Right, you know, it's real, it's line to both different.
Whatever.
Sounds like the pipe was different.
I'll stick up for a minute.
Yes, again.
Only good work.
It works. It works.
So I think this is probably pretty accurate representation of how the lots would lay out. Tyler just completed this, so we may make some small adjustments, but our intention is that there would be 30 lots like we talked about before. Any other questions or
Yeah, I
concerns?
don't remember exactly how that ditch runs through there.
What one?
The irrigation ditch.
Oh, yeah. It actually.
It's on the other side of the tree.
Yeah.
It crosses further.
Yeah, it also just a major ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It crosses kind of, down by our detention.
That's what I'm talking about. I was just trying to see if
Yeah.
we can pull water from waterfall. How we get back to that retention pond? Or make it a dual purpose pond.
Yeah, so did we, sorry, I might have been talking over here, secondary water, I guess, have you acquired shares?
I've talked to Western Irrigation about that. So there's a couple of possibilities. Our 1100 North project, if those shares are share for share, we'll have an overage on 1100 North that we can transfer down to here. But I also finally got Western Irrigation the other day and talked to them. And she's checking to see if they have any available shares as well. So
Brown bunch.
who did?
Brown.
Yeah, I don't know how many he has. I will find that out. I think it's 15. But
Which equates to about an hour.
yeah, so it could be more than that because, we're under contract with 2 parcels for him. So I'll get to the bottom of that, but, I think that we're on track Like I said, if we have share for share exchange from costly ditch shares to Western irrigation, which I'm trying to find out.
So the same.
Is it all the same? So as long as it is share for share in the exchange, we'll have enough from our 1100 North project to transfer down here and cover
So you'll turn in your shares to Pine View for the 1100 North.
it, right? And to you,
And then the rest.
right? Right. Yeah, so we should have, if it does exchange share for share, we'll have more than what we need for here.
Yeah.
You know, with both of those.
Do you, okay, here's a crazy idea, Justin. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I like your.
okay, Pineview won't manage service area, right? Will Pineview sell water to 4 Mile District, right? Like, cause
They've always said because it's out of their zone, they will not expand their zone. Would we ever ask to try to,
Yeah.
as a special service district, try to find one?
and then they just have some sort of agreement where we take water from right there.
I think it's worth asking. I think it's a good crazy idea.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
when we shares, whatever.
Right. And we maintain it all,
Yeah,
right?
And we got to put the infrastructure in.
yeah, I mean, essentially, they, the valve. And
We have to cover. But that'd be better than. All of this stuff.
Well, and
Bring it up
I
from.
would actually too, it'd be nice to have this one independent,
yes, I totally agree. I'm just trying to figure
but
out.
that requires a pump house and other things that you didn't have in this plan that we would have to add to it.
Costs.
So the pump house would be required if you tied into Pineview?
No,
If you do this,
Coming up
if
for
we
one.
do that.
if you have to do independent.
It's down.
Right, if we figured out a way to bring gravity water from Western over here, set up your own pond and pump system, like we did more.
Yeah.
Systems, I guess, come on.
I know,
Just
more
goes to there.
maintenance and headache, yeah. Yeah. There you go.
So.
I got a couple hundred worth motors.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Right.
So will someone reach out to Pineview then and have a discussion?
We'll
with them
follow
about
up on, we'll follow up on it, whether that's even possible. Let's back up. We're talking a lot of infrastructure. Let's back up a little bit to the planning.
Okay.
Just so the team's on the same, this goes through the same process as zoning change would under our ordinance. So we take our final cluster development plan and we present that to our planning commission. We hold a public hearing, we get their recommendation and to city council, who ultimately makes the decision on whether that is an approved development plan. So included in the cluster development, you have, we just went through the density and the bonus density options. So we want to make sure that we've hit before we move forward to planning commission. We want to make sure that we've hit all of these things. I think Tyler and I visited on the phone the other day. I think I gave the reference to.
Yeah, I've looked at some of the code, but like, as we talked about, a lot of this is based on our development agreement, so.
So we want to make sure that we're on top of that. It does require that we have, leave in here, it requires that we have the common building thing, and someone's here, so that there it is. So because of the varying natures of the lots, and it's a little bit related to what we were talking about, these access and where they come in from. So the size and general footprint of all dwellings will be, needs to be shown
Okay,
on the plat as well.
easy enough.
This is all included in the improvements drawings in a normal subdivision.
Mhm.
And we've addressed the sewer issue already. And then your CCNRs, I think that will be a problem.
CCNR is mostly done. For
We
this.
can use for this one.
Yeah, well, they're transferable enough from our 1100, so they're gonna be your lawyer will love that because they're gonna be very similar. The only thing that we'll have to eliminate out of there is there's some delineation between single family lots and townhome lots that won't apply to Ocala. But the rest of the document will be very similar.
Okay.
And so our intention is to, with everything moving forward here. If everything moves forward out of here, then yes, we would submit to the planning commission in March. So we would be ready to submit that in March.
For this project.
Mhm.
Okay, so.
So we'll actually have both projects on your docket in March for the planning commission. Yeah.
So we'll need a public hearing this
Mhm.
project. We've already done the public hearing for the project,
Yes,
but we haven't presented the full MDA to the planning.
to the planning commission, correct. And so Jenny will have, then the requirement is, so we'll add the building envelopes on here. And then we'll have a master development agreement and our CCNRs. But we don't have to have our geotech and
That's not part of the
and
application.
environmental,
That's required in the mixed use
right,
application.
but it's not required for
in
that
the
submission.
But it will be required in the subdivision development.
Right. Okay, all right.
So just for saving time for me, I take it that I'm just showing the building envelope area, so setback lines, right? What's the setback lines?
So it says in,
Is this a CCNR thing also, or?
well, it calls it out here that the minimum distance between any part of the main building shall be 10 feet. And the minimum side yard for any single lot, it has to be.
So 10 feet between structures or for property?
Yeah, it's the minimum side yard for
Okay.
any single lot shall not be less than 10 feet.
Yeah,
And then the front yard is 20?
it's according to us.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not called out.
So
So,
just 10 on sided, and then what do you want, front yard?
Well, I think that because of parking issues in these higher density ones, we require at least, what is the size? 20.
Right.
So you can get a full size
Right.
vehicle park.
so what we've done in 1100 North,
Yes.
we've maintained
That's the thing.
1100 North.
It'll be very much like that.
Okay. Sounds good. So I'll get what I need to over to you so that we can get on that agenda for both 1100 North and for this property, for this project, so that we can go to the next planning commission meeting.
Sounds good.
Any other?
These are all single family.
These are all single family. So what we will do is, they're all single family patio homes, but most of them are gonna be 2-story. We do have a 1-story option. And it's very similar to what we're doing on 1100 North. But there will be an HOA on this one as well, because of the common area.
So you can submit those HOA documents and with the CCNRs if you'd like,
Yeah, I'll have that ready probably.
just as it relates to the.
What you show on your plat, if you show that parking lot also as snow storage.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
all right.
yeah, I didn't show the parking lot or anything on here because it's kind of a plat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we just need.
But yeah, it makes sense to put a snow storage easement there.
yeah, I think that's good.
Is the city maintaining all those roads?
These do meet the specifications, so they would be,
It's not a privatized development.
Oh, thank you, Wade.
Well, there's an HOA, so that's why I thought, well, it's good.
There is an HOA,
It's
but
on the buildings itself.
yeah, on the building space.
Comments.
Yep.
It's actually city maintained streets, American street.
Yeah, the cross section needs to be approved, by the city engineer. But it's similar to what's going on in.
And that's just north.
Just north, yeah, north and a little bit west.
55 feet
So-
sidewalk.
Yes,
Just a little side conversation out here. Maybe we could bump the pickleball courts closer to these residents and give a little more buffer to
Little
these.
buffer. Yeah, the design choice there was, we had that weird little inset. And I was like, that'd be perfect, you know, because, but we got all the space there. So if you want a little more buffer,
Just-
for the noise,
Yeah,
it's not gonna make that much difference, you know that.
Street.
I just.
We can if you want.
If you get much.
It was just, again, we looked at this little inset with, you know, what do we do with that? So maybe swap the pavilion and the pickleball courts.
Being a fellow pickleballer.
Yeah.
Do you have like 10 feet beyond that?
those are to scale.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cause you might be hitting balls over the fence on that one. How it's set, how it holds on sitting there.
Well, I mean, not most pickleball courts have roofs.
Someone's gonna door, get the balls.
Right.
It was pushed back, would you be willing to put a solid vinyl fence on the property line, something like screens? And just that resident, yeah, just.
yeah, I know the parcel Edwin, yeah, the trust there, they've got a privacy vinyl fence around theirs.
I didn't know if they had.
But the Conley Fernandez parcel do not.
It just kind of would maybe be a healthy point.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can certainly look at that for sure.
It will have lights on
The pickleball court, you're thinking about.
it? No. I have my places to play, but that's the concern with the noise, and if you don't have lights, then that alleviates significant noise.
Oh, yeah.
So that could be.
We haven't discussed that yet, so.
That's, we can't win on tennis courts, you know. If the lights are down, we have major power issues over there, then we get complaints because they can't use them. So we get complaints from the neighbors.
Yeah, and my attitude with lights on pickleball courts is most of the time when people are playing, it's gonna be summer, right, in the evening. Summer in the evening, it stays light so late. I don't know that you really need them. Plus, we're gonna get a lot of washover, you know, into those other houses, so.
Yeah,
Proximity, probably steer clear.
Yeah,
I would agree. I would say no lights, and God bless them. It's hard to play by flashlight, so. Okay,
we'll put some hooks on the fence where they can hang up headlamps. Yeah.
Front of your headlight.
all right.
Anything else?
Not from our team. You guys have any questions for us?
No, I think that's it. If you can get back to me, if you find out anything from Pineview, let me know on that. Because if we don't go that direction, then we've gotta make a choice of tying into Warren Hollow or doing our own
System.
system, so,
Okay. Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
okay,
Thank you.
okay. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Can I just give them a couple of things?